Alrighty guys, it is Qaaman here today, and I'm bringing you another Dragon Ball discussion about the Tournament of Power. And many of you guys were requesting that I use my native voice to talk to you guys in this video today, so I will be granting your request. And in addition to this, if you guys have not caught up to where the spoilers are in Dragon Ball Super episode 129, this video will contain spoilers, but if you've been on the internet, you've probably already figured out all of the possible spoilers because the preview spoiled it for you. So, what do I want to talk to you guys about today? Well, I want to talk to you guys about Whis, and I was rewatching episode 129, and I think there was a very interesting scene that Whis had that I think almost nearly confirms exactly how the Tournament of Power will end, and I'm going to go in depth about what Whis said and give my explanations and theory as to how this will all play out into the Tournament of Power's ending, because everybody's wanting to know how this whole thing will end. And to tell you guys the honest truth, I understand that Dragon Ball fans often might overlook things a little bit deeper than what it's probably supposed to be, but I promise you there's a lot of substance to suggest that there's really a foreshadowing as to how the Tournament of Power will end based off of Whis' statement. So, what did Whis say? Well, if you guys remember from the episode, when Goku was in his Ultra Instinct state at the beginning of the episode and the hype between the Goku and Jiren fight was starting off between watching all the gods observing everything, there was a moment where Whis specifically said that there was no one left to help and there is no one left to heal at this point in the Tournament of Power. So let's actually analyze this for a second. There's no one left to help, he didn't mention Frieza, and he also mentions there's no one left to heal, which is pretty much confirming that after all of the cheat code stamina that Goku has had, having, you know, Frieza and Vegeta give him energy, have others fight on his behalf while he's trying to recover, there's really no other way that Goku's just gonna pull out this magical cheat code stamina, because he's already been breaking his limits even further beyond in trying to tap into God's power. So essentially Whis is saying that we should not expect to see Goku just getting all of this magical stamina out of anywhere, as we've seen before throughout the Tournament of Power. And the most important thing that we said is that when he mentions when the glow from his eye fades, the battle will be decided. Now, what exactly does this mean here, guys? Well, this could actually mean a lot of things, but one of the key things that I definitely think this means is it goes into the actual technicality of the Tournament of Power's rulings. And if you guys have been following the Tournament of Power, and if you guys remember from the Namek arc in Dragon Ball Z, we see a huge fight between Goku and Frieza, and ironically, Frieza's still in the Tournament of Power right now, knocked out cold, so it's kind of funny that with all of this cinematic time that Frieza's once again involved in all of this anyways. But the funny part about this, guys, is that we have to look at two things here. The Tournament of Power is a timed sequence, and the last time it was mentioned that there was an amount of time that was left in the Tournament of Power, it was said that there were 2 minutes left. Now, the last 2 episodes did not mention how much time is actually left over, which means that we have to just assume that it is under 2 minutes that is actually left for Goku to continue this fight with Jiren. And we also have to look at something else too, guys. Goku also just recently unlocked the Mastered Ultra Instinct state, and we have to look at a past history to look at Goku throughout the Tournament of Power. The first time that Goku used the Ultra Instinct state, what happened? Well, he ran out of power, and essentially Frieza, who I'm going to talk about more later on in this episode, or shall I say this video, Frieza was the one to help Goku out with his energy, but in this case, Frieza's knocked out cold. So the first time, Goku ran out of energy. The second time, Goku was running out of energy, but figured out a key way to somewhat use an offensive move with his Kamehameha to knock out Kefla, and then proceeded to run out of the Ultra Instinct state again. So the first 2 times, Goku couldn't maintain this transformation, and now Goku is using a new transformation that, although it is mastered and he can now use the offensive capabilities along with the defensive capabilities in sync with each other, Goku also doesn't have a lot of experience with this form. And by Whis saying when the glow from his eye fades, the battle will be decided, he's essentially saying that when Goku runs out of this state, or he's at least foreshadowing, that will be the end of the Goku versus Jiren fight. But then you're probably saying to yourself, well, how does that help Universe 7 win? Well, I think we have to combine a lot of fan theories to really come to a direct conclusion as to how this ultimately works. And I think one of the key things we have to analyze here, guys, is we have to look at a theory that has been going around with Frieza. So I made a video weeks ago talking about Frieza, in which I talked about the Frieza ending that everybody doesn't want to happen. And there's this huge theory going around in the community that a very Toriyama-esque way to end the Tournament of Power would be to have Frieza just sitting in the Tournament of Power and lying down while Goku is fighting Jiren. Goku loses, they knock each other out, and because Frieza is actually the last person left in the Tournament of Power, that means that since Goku and Jiren essentially knocked each other out, Frieza technically won the battle because his body was still in the ring, and hence Universe 7 survives. And I was talking to my friend Black and Fist, and he actually followed up on this theory by talking about how the wish will be granted. And he came up with this theory that the way the wish will work for episode 131 would be a situation in which Frieza is knocked out, he's sleeping, and because of the fact that Frieza is sleeping, he won't be able to get his wish off, which means that Goku and Krillin and all of his friends will make the wish on Frieza's behalf because Frieza's sleeping, and then Dragon Ball Super will end with the twist of Frieza ending up in hell the same way that he was at the beginning of the Tournament of Power, and now he ends up, and the whole story can continue the way it should be, with Frieza being dead, not getting his wish, and ending the way Dragon Ball Super should. The same way it ended off before, and the same way that Dragon Ball Z eventually ended. So that is essentially how a lot of people have been looking at this. But I think that with Whis' statement, we can now look at an alternate scenario as to how this can end. You see, I watch a lot of sports, right? And in a lot of sporting events, basketball and football, the sport is ended on a timed schedule. So essentially, the way you would look at the Tournament of Power would be to look at each member of every team as a point for their team. So every team has 10 points, right? And at the end of the time, whoever has the most amount of points essentially wins. And the Tournament of Power works that way because the way the rules works is that whoever has the most amount of fighters left in the Tournament of Power when the clock runs out wins. Now you have to think about this, guys. If the Tournament of Power was just a conventional battle where Goku just has to defeat Jiren in the end the same way that he's done for multiple villains of the past, it wouldn't fit like the Tournament of Power setting has been developed to be. If this was just a battle to fight for Earth or to fight on a random planet in the middle of nowhere, it wouldn't have the same effect as actually inputting these actual rules. So essentially what I'm getting at here is, why would the Tournament of Power create these rules if they weren't going to use them? Well, I think here's where we actually get these rules put into fruition. I think by analyzing Whis' statement, we can come to a conclusion that Goku is going to run out of energy. He's going to be in trouble. He's going to dominate Jiren with this mastered Ultra Instinct state, but at the most inopportune time, the same way that Gotenks ran out of Super Saiyan 3 when he was fighting against Super Buu, Goku is going to run out of his power. But the clock is going to save Universe 7, because although Goku is going to run out of power and Universe 7 is going to be screwed, because Goku and Frieza are still technically in the Tournament of Power arena by just a hair, that will essentially give them the win over Jiren simply because of the fact that they outnumbered him at the very last second. And as I've said before, the only way to take a character out like Jiren would be to do something like this, because Jiren is such an uber tier powerful character that I don't see a conventional way of Goku just overpowering him as a way to defeat a character that has been hyped up as much as Jiren, especially considering how much media Jiren has been in before the Tournament of Power even started. So I definitely think that looking at the Tournament of Power setting and rules, that's the most realistic way that we could look at this. And if we also look at one more thing here, guys, I made a video a long time ago talking about why Goku shouldn't win the Tournament of Power, and the reason why I said that is because it's been an extremely predictable way for Goku to be the last guy. But you guys actually corrected me in saying something, that although Goku is always the hero in all of the moments, or most of the moments of Dragon Ball, he's actually never really won a major tournament other than the 23rd tournament. He lost the first one to Master Roshi, he lost the second one to Tien, he technically lost the tournament between him and Pycon in the other world tournament, and he also left the tournament where they were fighting against, you know, Mr. Satan and Android 18, where obviously Mr. Satan won because he kind of bribed 18 into taking a dive for the battle. So Goku has been exempt for a lot of these Dragon Ball fights, and let's not even go into Dragon Ball GT where he lost to that weak, nerdy, skinny kid. So looking at all of that, it would kind of continue the Dragon Ball tradition of Goku not just winning a tournament on his own if you win in a very unconventional way by having Goku win on a technicality the same way that he lost on a technicality to Tien in the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai. And I definitely think that it might not be the most climactic way for the Dragon Ball Super Tournament of Power to end. I do think it's a very realistic and Toriyama-esque way for all of this to be concluded. So, with everything else said, guys, that's all I have to talk about in this video today. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section below and your theories as to how the Tournament of Power will end. So with everything else said, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys.